Hi, I'm Marcia Longdon, one of the immigration partners here, and I'm here with my colleague
Robert. I'm one of the senior associates.
So we're going to talk about what artists need to do, not necessarily people who paint, but creative people.
Mm-hmm.
I often explain, as part of our jobs, if you like, that somebody like Beyonce, if she was coming to the UK, she would need work permission, right? Because it's her job. So what I want to explore with you is how can musicians, actors, actresses, comedians, the whole kind of genre of talent, how are they able to come to the UK?
Mm-hmm.
So as an example, I'm going to pretend that I'm not necessarily famous person, but I am a creative. And I want to come to the UK to perform at a festival, for example. How would I be able to do that?
Okay, so there's a variety of things you have to sort of put into the mix to work out how you're going to come to the UK. So if you're a foreign national, unfortunately, you generally need work authorization, so permission to work and be paid from a UK source. So if you're a performer who's going to take part in a well-established and well-known, well-attended festival, it might be on the permit-free list that's in the immigration rules. So that's sort of large, regular festivals. They're included in a special list, and people who are going to take part in those can come without applying for a visa or really having to have anything. Okay. So that's your easiest way in, because obviously you don't want to have to deal with paperwork and things like that. For other types of people who are going to be perhaps not attending such a well-established festival or something that's so well known, they could come potentially under the visitor category. And as a visitor, if you're going to be paid from a UK source and that's within 30 days of your entry to the UK, then you can do that as a visitor, provided you're an actual professional entertainer, creative person, that it's actually your job, that it is your work.
So let's say I'm very famous and I have entourage. Could my entourage come in?
Yes, so they could come as well. So there's some provisions into the visitor rules for entourage and for some support to come into in with you.
Okay, so what if I want to come for longer than the 30 days? Let's say, I'm lucky enough to have a gig, right? And it's going to last for the next couple of months. How would I be able to come to the UK under those circumstances?
So, as a visitor, you can come in for 6 months, but annoyingly, there's that sort of caveat that if you're going to be paid from a UK source, that has to be within 30 days of you coming. So if you're wanting to perhaps be here for a longer period, regularly performing or regularly taking part in something, then you'd have to look at other immigration categories, so not the visitor route, and that would probably be the creative worker route. So with the creative worker, it's not so straightforward, unfortunately, as the visitor route. You need a certificate of sponsorship, so you need a sponsor, a UK entity to act as your sponsor, and they issue the work permit, and then you either come into the UK with your certificate of sponsorship if you're coming for 90 days or less, and that's if you're a non-visa national. So if you're a Chinese national or a Russian national, unfortunately you have to apply for a visa, and that's true even in the visitor category as well. So, but with US nationals and non-visa nationals, they can just arrive at the UK with their certificate of sponsorship and come through if it's for less than 3 months or 90 days. If you're coming for longer, maybe like a year or a few months, then you have to go off and apply for your visa. And you can get permission for up to a year initially as a creative worker.
Okay. That's really helpful to know. That's very helpful to know. So using the same sort of scenario, if you like, what about if I am very talented, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm super talented and I want to stay in the UK for a lot longer. So I'm not necessarily, I'm going to sort of do incidental performances and things like that. How would I do that?
Yeah. So if you want to live in the UK and be based in the UK and you're talented and you're recognised or you're up and coming, then you might be able to qualify for a global talent visa. It's really hard to get a global talent visa generally.
Okay.
So you have to be exceptionally talented or show exceptional promise. And the Arts Council generally is the body that's responsible for endorsing, so sort of vouching for you and saying, yes, this person is indeed exceptionally talented or has exceptional promise. And if you can get your endorsement, your support from the Arts Council, you go off and apply for your global talent visa.
Okay.
And that's a very generous immigration category. You can do pretty much what you want as a global talent visa holder. And then potentially you can either get permanent residence in the UK, so indefinite leave to remain after 3 or 5 years, depending on which basis you're endorsed under.
Okay.
So, yeah, that would be it.
So that's quite interesting. So I could use, let's say, for example, I applied for the global talent.
Mm-hmm.
The first part, I have to be endorsed.
Yeah.
So I have to basically convince the Arts Council that I'm really good, and then I'd just get a corresponding visa. Yeah,
that's right. And you'd get other people to help you as well. Okay. So you sort of have people vouch for you, give you a letter of recommendation, and you provide sort of other supporting documentation, snippets from media and publications and so on and so on. Whatever you can collect together. And you put it to the Arts Council and they say yes or no, basically.
Are there any other categories that for artists and to come to the UK?
Yeah, I mean, there's sort of other immigration routes that might not be as popular, but they're sort of there as a potential avenue for people to get status. If you've got ancestry, for example, you might be able to qualify for a visa on that basis if you're a Commonwealth national. There's obviously the skilled worker route, which is the most common work visa route to get status here in the UK. And creative workers potentially could qualify under that. But there's salary requirements, and again, it comes back to requiring a UK organisation to be your sponsor. So that's not as helpful or as generous as the global talent route.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. That was really helpful. For those listening, we have some links attached to this video. And until next time, thank you.
Thanks.